Hello, everyone, and welcome to our joint Weeks of Welcome session. Today, we will be covering engagement and attendance department open houses. My name is Rebecca McAlpine, Director of Engagement. I've seen so many familiar faces throughout our Weeks of Welcome sessions, and they are here with us this afternoon as well. If you're watching the recording, so glad that you are taking this journey with us as well. I'm going to go ahead and be the presenter to go over all things engagement department. And then in a little bit, I will hand off the microphone to Nora Barnhart, who is also here with us to go over all things attendance, as Nora serves as our attendance coordinator. So without further ado, let's jump right into our engagement department open house. So of course, we'll always start with our mission and vision and our values, talk a little bit about our team here in the engagement department, go over all the engagement opportunities that you see off to the right-hand side there, and wrap up with a Q&A time. Throughout today's session, the privileges will be really minimal, just so that we can make sure that we cover the content of the presentation. But at the end, we will be able to cover questions and provide additional support as needed. On here, you can see our mission and vision of Compass Charter Schools. These are so important to us here at Compass, since all of the content and information that I'm going to share here with you today is geared towards our scholars' success and sticking to our Compass mission and vision. It's really important that we pause and review these before we jump into our presentation, as well as our RTIC values of achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication. You'll see these all throughout our Weeks of Welcome sessions, and that is on purpose. It's because every work of every department here at Compass relies and focuses on our mission, vision, and core values. And we desire that for our learning coaches, our scholars, and all of our Compass community to rely on those guiding principles as we think, say, and do aligned with those founding principles. Alrighty, so our engagement department is comprised of myself, Rebecca McAlpine, there on the screen as the Director of Engagement, along with Danielle Del Negro as one of our engagement coordinators. Danielle oversees projects such as field trips, back-to-school park days, scholar celebrations, and virtual scholar workshops. As well, we also have, coming soon, our Scholar Programs Coordinator. That position oversees projects such as Scholar Clubs, Weeks of Welcome, Learning Coach Academy, or LCA, and weekly orientations. Our team also includes our entire Compass staff. Our entire Compass staff really support our initiatives in a variety of direct and indirect ways. So our whole Compass staff is part of our department in bringing to reality the variety of department initiatives that we have here within engagement. So our guiding goal here in the engagement department is for all of our scholars during this school year is that they find at least one engagement offering to try out, whether that be a scholar club, a field trip, a scholar celebration experience, or another one of our various offerings that we'll share about in this presentation. Our heart and our goal is to make sure that all of our scholars have at least one touch point with our engagement department throughout the school year. We find that once scholars find that one touch point, they're usually really excited about continuing to expand their engagement participation. Sometimes it just takes that first experience. Now, the mission of our engagement department is to create activities that foster connectedness and build community. We believe that connectedness and community support scholar learning and retention. So over the next few slides, we're going to discuss the variety of scholar opportunities as well as our learning coach opportunities that are overseen by our engagement department. So up first, you can see on the screen here, we have scholar clubs, virtual scholar workshops, and field trips. These are just a handful of our scholar opportunities. You can see some of the brief details on there. And not to worry, we are in fact going to talk about all of these in depth a little bit more. But I do have some fun links to put in the chat for you there. So I dropped those in. As I mentioned, we've got a few other scholar opportunities that we oversee here as well. We have scholar recognition and scholar celebrations. And I'm going to drop some scholar recognition information here into the chat. That is also linked there on the screen. Excuse me. And our scholar recognition, I'll also share in more depth here in a little bit as well, that the Scholar Handbook does overview all the definitions of our Scholar Awards as well. So that's a brief visual look at our Scholar opportunities. Now let's take a quick visual look at our Learning Coach opportunities. So now here we have on our screen the Learning Coach offerings from our engagement department. They include weeks of welcome. Here you are. There's also on the screen, there's also in the parentheses on the bottom of the screen, Mini Wow. That's held during the middle of the school year. It's a brief, quick, on-demand set of recordings, and then we have a live Q&A associated with it. And then we also have our weekly Learning Coach Academy, or LCA. You all are so familiar here with Weeks of Welcome. You're the experts now since you are here in attendance. And Learning Coach Academy is going to be starting up in September 14th. So we'll talk about all of that here in detail as we go on into our additional slides that we have here. So let's stop first for our in-depth tour. Let's stop first at Scholar Clubs. So our Scholar Clubs is a virtual program, and it has been a great source of comfort, connection, and joy for our scholars and staff. From cooking club to book club to virtual field trips club and more, we really desire that these clubs provide spaces and opportunities for our scholars to form connections with other scholars and staff members based around their interests and hobbies. Clubs meet at a minimum of once per month via Zoom and utilize Google Classroom to connect in between meetings. Our clubs are designed to be scholar-driven, including electing club officers for each of our clubs. A big shout out to all of our Scholar Club advisors who support the facilitation of these clubs being made available to our scholars. There's a list of our club offerings there in the chat. I'm also going to talk about them here a little bit more on these screens too. So our Scholar Clubs are grade banded. So here are some of our TK through 5th grade clubs. The link to register will be accessible after the presentation or actually throughout the presentation. And as well, we want your scholars to be able to look through these clubs and of course take the opportunity to sign up if they would like to. If they would like to wait though, they could come to our Scholar Club Rush. That's going to be held on Friday, September 4th. They can hear all about all things Scholar Clubs and jump in to that session to hear the overviews and then sign up. But if your scholars already know what they want to sign up for, then they are welcome to do so right now. When they do sign up though, just a quick timeline. Our Scholar Clubs don't start until later in the month of September. And so as scholars are submitting that Scholar Club sign up, there will be a little bit of a delay getting into the Google Classroom and things like that. But not to worry, we will be in touch through the Google Classroom, making sure scholars know when their Scholar Clubs are starting. And as that first set of Scholar Clubs meet, it'll be kind of like a roll of other Scholar Clubs starting, because sometimes they won't meet on that very first Monday because they only meet once a month. So they might meet until like later in September or really early October. And now here are some of our Scholar Clubs for grades 6 through 12. And again, the information shared previously also applies here. We're still building out one of our Scholar Clubs, so you see the schedule on the screen there is not listed. And then also I want to give a quick shout out. There's a club that's actually on both of these slides called Scholar Leadership Council. So that is an application-based club. It works directly with our superintendent and CEO, Elizabeth Brenner, and also Tammy Wrigley, who is the assistant to our superintendent and CEO. And that program is all grade levels, and it gives scholars an opportunity to really grow in their leadership skills, to grow in sharing their voice, and it's a really great opportunity. In addition to that, we have another application-based club, which is National Honor Society, that serves scholars in grades 10 through 12. You'll see on the screen there. Whereas these are our 6 through 12 clubs, there are a couple of clubs that have to have a different grade band level, which you can see listed on the screen there. Our National Honor Society, those grade levels are set by the national standard for that organization, and so we have to have a set grade levels for that one. And then Connect Me is a new club that we are launching this school year where scholars in grades 9 through 12 will be trained to be able to tutor our scholars in-house here at Compass. So more information definitely come with that in our Monday morning update. We are still getting those details finalized and squared away. Okie dokie, now let's talk a little bit about virtual scholar workshops. Our intention with virtual scholar workshops have always been to essentially bring field trips to our scholars' homes. These opportunities sometimes have included kits sent to scholar homes to complete together at the same time while everybody sits virtually in a Zoom session. Sometimes we have guest speakers, to interactive activities, and more. The link is a little bit hard to see on the screen there, but it says that upcoming engagement events can always be found in our Monday morning update, as well as on the Parent Square calendar item. For all of these events, we'll want to make sure that we all register individually for each of the offerings so we have the right information for you. We have updated our registration process to be more seamless and to be more efficient for those filling out the form. So for those who've provided that feedback in the past, we're so excited to let you know that we are working on that. And you should see those improvements when you go to register for upcoming events. And then once you are part of the virtual scholar workshop or maybe the field trip or things like that, where you sign up individually for those events, there's always a Parent Square group just for those of you who registered to join in for that particular event and offering. So Scholar Clubs, the information comes out in Google Classroom, but for other opportunities such as our virtual scholar workshops, field trips, there's always a Parent Square group where you will get all of the important information. Now, if you do RSVP in the Parent Square group, what you're doing is you're letting everybody know that you already registered. You'll see on the Parent Square calendar item instructions to register for every single event that we have here within the engagement department. And then once you register, you can always come back and elect to indicate that you have registered by RSVPing, and that just lets other people know within the Compass community that you are planning to attend that event. The reason why we let our families to self-select the RSVP just in case you don't want that information made available. So we have you self-select and share that out. And of course, we read every single survey that you submit about our virtual offerings, our in-person offerings. We are super sensitive in our department about making sure that we are helping to plan events and provide offerings that are meeting our families where they are at. So virtual scholar workshops are held on Fridays at 1 p.m. Every week we have an offering for grades TK through 8 or all grade levels. And once a month we'll have more grade banded where we have TK through 8 and 9 through 12. And here's a sampling of just some of our previously offered virtual scholar workshops. Our scholars have really enjoyed our Heritage Month assemblies, talent shows, informational sessions that we hold, intelligence analysis, and so much more. So again, these are held every Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. and they're a really great way to connect socially and also connect around interests. Okay, one of everybody's favorite topics, field trips. So let's talk about all things field trips. We have such an array of field trips offered all throughout different areas that we serve in California. Additional offerings include adventuring off to places like the San Diego Zoo, Astro Camp, and so much more. So again, information is always shared out in our Monday morning update. I've got a really great set of links that I'm going to share here at the end, kind of a sneak peek preview of what's going to be in our Monday morning update. And that'll have lots of links to click on, including our event tracker. So our event tracker is again, built out from family feedback. Families were having a hard time knowing when is this field trip going to launch and what about that one and what other field trips are coming up this day? Great questions. So we built out what's called an engagement event tracker, and we'll show you that here in a little bit. The engagement event tracker lets you know what field trips are currently on the books. It's updated all the time, so field trips are always being added. And then it'll let you know when that field trip is going to open, when it's going to close, and helpful information along those lines. Now, registering for all of these offerings, virtual scholar workshops, field trips, those registrations are non-refundable and non-transferable. They, once completed and once purchased, we reserve your spot. And so to do that, we want to make sure that you do know that those are our internal policies. And of course, same thing here with the Parent Square group, where information and reminders will always come out through Parent Square to keep everybody on the same page about field trips. And again, we really absolutely do read all of your feedback that you share with us about our offerings. So please, please, please submit those surveys. Let us know if you want us to keep offering it or if you'd like us to look into something else. And field trips are held all over our 18 counties we serve within California on various days of the school week. Here is a sampling of previously offered field trips. You can see our scholars have enjoyed places such as Discovery Cube, Grad Bash, iFly, and so much more. So many sweet memories have been made all across the state of California. Now, here is an event that is so close to my heart. Back to School Park Day is just around the corner. I'm going to put the link in the chat. You do have to have Parent Square to access that information. So if you are newer to Compass and your Parent Square account is not active yet, don't fret. Registrations for Back to School Park Day don't close until September 4th. So you've got plenty of time to register and get connected through Parent Square. The actual event date, though, is Friday, September 11th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. 6 different locations, all held simultaneously. We are going to have a family photo station where you can capture special back-to-school moments and take a photo printout. We're also going to decorate a magnet frame together. We're going to get creative and make a fun frame for your photo. Then there's also going to be a curriculum swap where families can bring their curriculum that they no longer need and also swap out with other families who will be bringing their curriculum as well. And of course, field activities. Our sports vendors are back to host a fun and engaging activity at all 6 locations. So please don't delay. Be sure to sign up for our Back to School Park Day. We really want to see you there. Grab the whole family, come and hang out, make some memories together, and see your local Compass staff. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So here's just a few thousand words of some of the adventures that our scholars have gone on through our engagement offerings. You can see that they have had endless opportunities to smile, to make memories, to connect with each other. One of my favorite stories, and probably a few of you have already heard this in the room today, but at one of our 8th grade promotion locations at the end of the ceremony, all the scholars were kind of just like grouping up together and they were laughing and joking, and it kind of seemed like maybe they were all like all related almost. I mean, they were like, it was the sweetest thing, and we walked on over, we're like, oh, how do you all know each other? And they were like, we went to Astro Camp together, and now we're here at 8th grade promotion. And it was like a Astro Camp reunion. They'd made these lifelong memories together. And so I know that our field trips are spread out all throughout 18 counties. And so it does take coordination and coming to participate and be a part of them, but it is time well spent. Our scholars really love their time that they spend at our field trips and make those meaningful connections. So we highly encourage you to find some that are where you would like to go, and of course, share with us your experience as well. So here at Compass, we take a lot of pride in all of our scholars' achievements and try to recognize them in every way that we can. Some of the ways we recognize them are through things like Scholar of the Month, Firebird of the Year, Core Values, our Arctic Awards, and so much more. The next slide here shares all of our awards that we have available, and we'll talk through our Scholar Awards just a little bit more. The award descriptions are available in our Scholar Handbook. I'll put that link here in just a few moments. And our awards are given due to their assigned window for that recognition. And if you have any questions about it, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat now for everybody. There's our Scholar Handbook for the award descriptions and criteria. You can find that on page 30. So we've got a wide variety of scholar recognition. You'll see some of them are built out per grade level. So a handful of them are awarded at our actual in-person ceremonies. Others are awarded throughout the school year and acknowledged at our virtual award ceremonies. So we have different places where they are acknowledged and awarded. And we really want our scholars to know about them from day one so they can work towards those. So please take a moment to review the criteria in the Scholar Handbook, and we look forward to celebrating together with your scholars. Okay, as already mentioned, we so love celebrating our scholars. And one of the ways that we pause to celebrate is at our scholar celebration ceremonies. So we hold two virtual and two sets of ceremonies virtually and two sets of ceremonies in person. We hold kindergarten and fifth grade virtually. Those are going to be held the week of June 1. And then we hold in person June 9th through 11th, our eighth grade promotion and our 12th grade graduation. We hold them in San Diego, excuse me, in Poway, and then we also hold them in Carson, and then we also hold them in Sacramento. So we do two ceremonies each day, back to back to back, 12th in the morning, 8th in the afternoon. Then we take the whole cohort to the next city, and then we wrap up. And all the information will be made available through Parent Square, through the MMU, through email for those scholars specifically on track to promote and graduate. And again, we take your feedback very seriously on those ceremonies, and we love hearing what your experience is like, and we look forward to celebrating your scholars together. As I already mentioned, our weeks of welcome are affectionately called Wow, you are already experts because you are here today. If you did miss any of the other sessions, I'll be sharing the Wow library here at the end of today's session. It'll also be shared out in the MMU, so lots of opportunities to continue reviewing the sessions as you go throughout the school year. It's definitely great to keep the Wow library bookmarked so you can always jump back in, and if you have a question, go ahead and read about or review the information. Thank you again for taking advantage of this offering and participating in order to feel as prepared as possible for this new school year. And now we're going to talk about Learning Coach Academy, or LCA. So our LCA registration, I'm going to drop that in the chat for you there. And Learning Coach Academy is held every Monday at 1 p.m. We are so thrilled about the growth and the community that's experienced throughout our Learning Coach Academy. Registration for our Learning Coach Academy is always shared out within our Monday morning update, as well as the upcoming topics. We have a combination of topics and social hours made available to our families. Learning coaches who complete 10 or more Learning Coach Academy sessions are presented with a certificate and mug to acknowledge their time and commitment to Learning Coach Academy. And now let's talk a little bit about registrations and how important those are here to engagement. So our deadlines are to register are usually set by our venue deadlines that we receive. So every venue's got different deadlines for registration, and we have to back plan from that. So you'll see those registration deadlines in the MMU. And those are always all the additional facts and information that you need will be shared on the Parent Square calendar items. Quick reminder that RSVPing is not registering, excuse me, and that all of our registrations are non-refundable and non-transferable, and that there's a permission slip per activity or per event. Oops, sorry, that was too quick of clicking. Here are just a few resources to always stay up to date with all things engagement and sharing your ideas with us. So I'm going to drop that in the chat for you. Our Parent Square calendar is a really great way to stay up to date on all things Compass and all things engagement. And then of course we have our engagement website, which I dropped, engagement part of our Compass website, which I dropped into the chat. And we always want to hear if there's an event that you want us to look into offering. And so you can always submit that through our submit an event idea form. And now we're going to jump into some upcoming highlights. We are so excited about all that we have coming up here at Compass, especially our back to school park days. And of course, our additional upcoming field trips and virtual scholar workshops. And as mentioned, here is our event tracker into the chat. Again, that is regularly updated, our event tracker is. And so you don't have to worry about, getting a new link. It's just regularly updated as field trips are added. And lastly, I just want to highlight LCA one more time. It is a one-time registration, and you get access to all of our LCA offerings every Monday, 1 p.m., starting on September 14th. So I'm going to drop the LCA registration in there. And whereas we normally would just hand off right to Nora, we're actually going to pause really quickly. I know there's been a couple of questions here in the chat. So if you are watching the recording, you're going to see just a little blip here. We're going to pause for questions and comments for this first portion. And if you have any questions and you're watching the recording, please feel free to reach out to me at my email there on the screen. Alrighty, back to it. For those of you watching the recording, here we are now. We're going to jump into our attendance open house. Nora, we're so excited that you're here today as our attendance coordinator to share about all things attendance with everyone. Thanks so much, Nora. Take it away.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you all for coming to view this session during our weeks of welcome. This is the attendance open house, so let's dive right in. And here's our agenda for today. We'll go through meeting the attendance department, talking about why attendance is important, and how we do attendance at our school. We will review learning logs and how to complete them, and touch on the withdrawal process as well. At the end, we will open it up for Q&A. So our attendance department consists of myself, the attendance coordinator, and Jason Henry, who is our attendance specialist. So why is attendance important? Attendance affects our state funding. We track our ADA, which is average daily attendance, and receive funds directly from the state based on scholars being present and engaging in school. Our ADA equals to an average of $75 per day per scholar, and these funds enable our schools to provide essential educational resources and support for all of our scholars. Our schools have a goal of 97% present attendance to help us meet our budget needs, and so we can deliver all of the necessary services and resources for all of our scholars. So, why is attendance important to you, our Compass families? As mentioned previously, the ADA funds are used to provide our scholars with important resources. But another reason to mention is that scholars who attend school regularly are able to keep up with their courses and earn passing grades. Building these attendance habits directly correlates with being at reading level in 3rd grade and eventually earning their high school diploma on time. This can pave the way for success in college and higher learning and success in their careers. How do we take attendance at Compass since our teachers are unable to mark scholars present each day by seeing them sitting physically at a desk? Attendance at Compass looks like a scholar completing educational activities each school day and then documenting that in our daily activity log, which is also the learning log. You might hear that interchangeably. Educational activities are any course-related learning, such as coursework, attending virtual or in-person field trips, attending live instructional sessions or learning labs, and completing benchmark assessments. Directions on completing the daily activity log in School Pathways are being linked in the chat box now. In order for us to claim present attendance for your scholar, we need to collect assignments for their body of work each learning period. The body of work helps our teachers to accurately grade your scholar and supplements the activity log to show that work and learning has been done. If we do not have any assignments submitted for a course during a learning period, then we will not be able to give present attendance for that course. Your supervising teacher will be able to help you with any questions regarding submitting assignments and completing the learning log. Please reach out to them if you have any issues or concerns. Here is a screenshot of how to access your scholars' activity logs in the School Pathways parent portal. You will be able to switch between scholars by clicking the arrow to the left of their name, where it says click here to change students. The school year will default to the current year, 2026 to 27, and log type will default as shown. The grid log check is the learning log, where you will record that the scholar engaged in assigned educational activities on each day. If you need to switch to submit a PE log, you can click on that drop-down arrow next to grid log check, and PE log will be available. You will set the learning period to the one you need. It defaults to the current learning period, which is based on the date. So make sure to only click on one LP before you click review log. And you can unclick any if it defaults to one you don't need. And then click review log when you're ready. And this is what the actual learning log looks like. It's very easy to complete. You will click the checkbox for each day that learning occurred. For example, if your scholar read a couple chapters of a book, went for a walk, attended a live math session, did an assignment for social studies, and completed a science experiment, you would check the box indicated that student engaged in assigned educational activities. Once you've clicked on a box for a day, it will automatically save. Please ensure that you are filling these out regularly and on time for our supervising teachers to be able to mark the correct attendance for your scholar. If you are ever unable to complete it, please let your supervising teacher know and they can mark it for you if needed. We also have a toggle all activity box available at the top left of the log if you're completing it for the entire learning period. However, we do recommend coming in each day to indicate that work was completed for that day. At the end of the learning period, once you've updated the final day for the learning period, you can then click Sign and Archive. You will then need to enter your first and last name, as we have on file when you enrolled your scholar, and either sign in the box using your mouse or check off the box to sign electronically. The box will appear below the parent guardian name fill-in box to check that you want to sign electronically. Once this is all completed, you will click the Submit Agreement button at the bottom of the screen. Your supervising teacher can also invite you to sign the learning log if we haven't received it yet. It comes as an email from Compass Charter Schools inviting you to sign a new form. It's a very generic looking email asking you to sign a contract. If you don't know what the email is for, you can reach out to your supervising teacher for verification. In order to complete the PE log, as I stated before, you can click on that log type drop-down box and change it to write in PE. You will then see blank cells for each day and a blank cell for the time to the right of that. You can fill in each day what physical activity was completed and then how long was spent. Please note that the time is specified in minutes. So if your scholar participated in a physical activity for 30 minutes, you would want to type 30. The system saves each entry automatically after it's made. In the activity cells, please don't record sick or not applicable or any personal information that isn't a physical education activity. The system sees that as activity, and then we have to go and delete it. You can still message your supervising teacher to let them know if there's any reason for activity missing on the PE log so that they are aware. Once the learning period is completed, you can sign and archive the PE log the same way you did for the learning log. And then if you ever need to withdraw from our school, you can let your supervising teacher know via email or text so that we have it in writing. The supervising teacher will initiate the withdrawal request with our registrar, and she will then send you a form to complete. You will need to confirm the request via email once you submit the request. This helps us ensure accuracy when we process your scholar's withdrawal. Once the request is completed, the registrar will process the withdrawal and send you a confirmation that you can provide to the new school, indicating your scholar was withdrawn from our school. Prior to submitting your request, please make sure that you have updated your learning log through the withdrawal date and submitted any assignments for the current learning period, so that we can accurately take attendance for your scholar. You will lose access to that section in the parent portal once the withdrawal is processed. On the last slide of this presentation, you can find my contact information if you need to reach out with any questions. Thank you for attending the attendance open house, and I'll pass it back over to Rebecca to conclude us and open up our Q&A time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nora. As we wrap up today, we would love to encourage everybody to continue joining us at our Weeks of Welcome offerings. Not to worry if you are unable to attend a session live, recordings and presentation slides are regularly added to our WOW library that is linked in the chat now. So as Nora already mentioned, we've got some questions that are coming in in the chat here in our live session. So for those of you watching the recording, this officially ends our journey together for the recording. Contact information is on the screen though, in the event that you'd like to reach out. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the recording. And for those of us here live, please feel free to drop your questions into the chat and we will answer them for you now.